I welcome everyone here, particularly the host for the event today, Chief Monday Ginikanwa, and Loolo. Thank you very much for hosting this event and for giving us an opportunity to talk about our Igbo culture. Also, everyone else also, Igbo Kwenu. As we say in our tradition, Igbo Amaka. For those who don't understand, the Igbo tribe is an elegant tribe, it's a beautiful tribe. And today, maybe in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, we'll see why, why we celebrate this. My hope is that after this speech, many people will rush to take Chieftaincy titles, even those that are not Igbo, even those that are not from the southeast of Nigeria, because it's a beautiful thing. So this is Chieftaincy title in Igbo land. Chieftaincy is one of the oldest and most important institutions in Igbo land. Igbos are one of the 3 big tribes in Nigeria. For those who don't know, we have about 300 tribes in Nigeria, and there's the big 3. So Igbos are one of the big 3. Chieftaincy title is recognized by the government of Nigeria. It is an institution that is crucial in maintaining the Igbo tradition and in fostering unity in Nigeria, not just in Igbo land. The title, Chieftaincy title, basically honors and confers honor on men and women who have contributed to the development of their communities. It's usually conferred by the Igwes, the Ezes, the kings. So it's not just for everybody. Usually it's conferred with a lot of pomp and pageantry, a lot of celebration. This is minor. I mean, the video there has been showing what happened in Nigeria, what we're celebrating today. But it can be done on a low-key level as well. So it depends on what the individual wants. But it's a big thing. It's a big event. 25 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to give this speech because then I didn't really believe in the traditional title. Back then I was in medical school, and this is a funny story because every one of my friends in medical school was a member of the Medical Students Cultural Society, what we call the Mespuso back in the days. A very good friend of mine became the Igwe, and they did all they could to lobby me to take a title as we were students there, but I refused. But then I was in darkness, and now I've seen the light. And I'm saying here today that by the time we are done with this, everybody will have. So by the time we meet again, we'll have a lot more red caps, even among the non-Igbos here. So what's the role? Why do we do this? A number of roles. I've listed about 6 or 7. So one is leadership and governance. Title holders often play advisory roles in the traditional camps and decision-making bodies of their communities. They advise the king, the Ezes. If we are to be in Australia, and the Ezes are kind of the prime minister, the cabinet is made up of tribal men. So it's not for everybody. So they make the rules of the land. They help in conflict resolution. The Igbos are one of the most peaceful tribes you can ever meet, and part of that credit goes to the traditional title holders. There's also, they help with cultural preservation. They are custodians of the tradition. You could see our also when you pray, what he's done here, I compare, many people can't do it. But that's why we have men like him. They are custodians of our tradition. They help us pass it on to generations, present and yet to come. They also promote the Igbo heritage. Most titled men hold things like Ofala in Igbo land. They hold the Iriji. Some months back we had the Iriji here, in Queensland. Back in Nigeria, of course, the Ezes do that, but traditional titled men also hold such events as well. They also help with economic development. Most traditional titled men, as I believe most people here, help develop their communities. They build schools, they give scholarships, they help the widows, they help the orphans. For their sake, it's not just on the government, it's also on individuals. They also help with politics. All right, if a title man endorses you, it's a big thing. All right, people queue up to get the royal blessings, particularly from first class chiefs. So it is a big thing. They also form the bridge between the old and the new, ancient tradition and modernity. So they are kind of a link between the past and the present and of course the future. So it's a big thing and we take it seriously. I remember back in the days we used to tease ourselves that for those who don't understand, the death that kills a traditional titled man came late. That death did not come on time. For allowing him to take traditional title, the man has done virtually all this comes to the world to do because it's a prestigious thing. Most individuals who receive chieftaincy titles in our Igbo, that's Igbo land, are persons who have distinguished themselves in their communities and humanitarian services in their various fields of endeavors. I'm sure that our brother, Chief Turu Ugo, would have done a lot for his people, and that's basically why they get conferred, why they get honored for those titles. It's a voluntary thing, it's not compulsory, so nobody forces you to take the title. And like I said before, it's a mark of honor. It distinguishes you from different positions and cadre. Common titles. So these titles are not just for men. Women also take traditional titles. And you can see the Loolo here. We all know the Chimamanda. Well, not all of us, but Chimamanda is a world-renowned writer. She took the Loolo one, recently. So it's not just for men. We don't discriminate on that level. Among the men, we have different titles. The Eze or Igwe is the king. He is the monarch, basically, of the community. But beneath him is the Ozons, and also, like we have an Ozo here, it's for distinguished men of timber and caliber, and very highly respected men in Igbo land. We have the Ichies. Kind of the king's cabinet, all right? So these are the people who give counsel, provide counsel and advice to the king. Then we have the Dibias, who are the traditional priests, spiritual leaders. They kind of connect us to the world we don't know about. For females, we obviously have mentioned the Loolo, the king's wife. It also can be a title given to other distinguished men, like Loolo that's who provides there. And of course, Loolo is also there. Another Loolo's here, So we have the Iyoms among the women. So Iyoms are for outstanding women who distinguish themselves in leadership, in governance, and in other developmental fields. We have the Odos, all right? For those who pay attention to your tradition, you see some very gorgeous women with big kind of rings in their arms and legs. So, that's the Igbo. And then we have the Adohas for first daughters, who wish to take traditional titles and positions. And all these things go with glamorous names. All right. So in Igbo land, like of course we've said this a lot of times, the Nwa Chi Turu Ugo is a title, which means a child blessed, decorated by the gods. We've talked about the Ewanatoza himself, which means bringing home the title, the glory. Myself, my humble self is Chieftaincy, which means God sent. In Igbo land, you'll hear a number of things like the Uduakomiri, which means a pot that never goes dry. Akuna Takasi is a very popular title, which means there's so much wealth that you don't know what to do with the money. Obato Zora is a title for those who shares their wealth, spreads the wealth across to the less privileged. Akulueno means you brought the wealth home. Idejiogu, the wealthy man that kind of holds home, keeps the family together or the community together. Omelora, Eseloenwego, Ochilozwa, Omemboji, and many others. So these are very glamorous, so it's not a joke, it only reflects what they have done for their communities. Alright, so I'm sure you're now wondering, so how can I get this title? Alright, you don't just wake up and become a traditional title holder. Usually there are strong kind of systems in place to select. It depends on the state, depends on the community. In Igbo land, some titles can be hereditary. It's not popular, but there are towns that have that recognized hereditary where the man passes on the title to the son and or sons, and then they maintain that name in that family. But the more popular ones are the ones that are not kind of hereditary. And in that category, you have those who get on merit, based on achievements, based on wealth, based on wisdom, based on community services and things like that. So it usually is a reflection of what you have done, of what you have achieved, and usually the name you pick reflects that. It can also be bestowed on people who have high moral or ethical standards, based on your ability to uphold justice, honesty, communal values. These men and ladies act as role models in their respective communities. It can also be conferred based on spiritual or ancestral connection, like we talked about the previous. They help consolidate ties between individual title holders and the Igbo ancestors or deities. Also, social stratification can be a criteria for conferring the titles, particularly those who have distinguished themselves, setting themselves apart, obtaining high status positions of influence. Now the titles can be, you may choose one title. I have only one, but I think everyone else has 3 or 4. So you can take as many. So it reflects what you have done. So you may take a title from different communities. You can take titles based on your academic achievement, based on community influence, based on political influence, and different. So you can take as many as you want. And then for our in-laws, now I know many of us here are not from Southeast Nigeria, and this is very important. If you marry our daughters or get married to our sons, and we love you and we do the things we do, you understand? For those who don't understand, when you behave like us, when you uphold the values we uphold, when you think the way you do, you can get the titles we cherish. So for those who love what we are doing here today, talk to the families, talk to the communities. Hopefully you'll wear our red cap in our next event. Now, privileges, apart from the show, we like to show off in Igbo. Why? What else? Why do we do this? What else is the privilege that goes with being a chief, a titled man? Quite a lot. It comes with a number of symbols, like the chief's handshake. I don't know if many of you would have noticed that was mentioned in the chief's handshake. This is not for everybody. So when you have, so you count it 3 times. All right, and then the third one. Now, if I realize he's not a titled man, I wouldn't give him the third one. I'll stop people. It's a privilege that only the titled men get the 3 handshake, and then we end up with this. All right? Yeah. Okay. So this is a privilege. All right. Not every man in Igbo land does this. So whenever you see it being done, know that it's for special men. You can also have things like the fan. All right. Could also be something that goes with you. You can see the big man coming in. That feather in the cap and the red cap is also not for everybody. All right. So these things are regularly that depict kind of the status you attend in Igbo land. You can have the elephant tusk, and a number of other things, different caps. Some communities have distinguished or unique regalias, like where I come from, titled men only wear white. Alright? Some places in Igbo land may be red with different colors. So these are all special things that make traditional titled men out in Igbo land. You can also have a lot of social respect and prestige. So this is not a joke, all right? In every community in Igbo land, the titled men go first before any other group. I've mentioned political influence. You can choose or influence who becomes what in Nigeria. It also allows you to build brotherhood, networking, all right? Business opportunities. Because these are select groups, they have their own group, special groups, and also legacy, immortality. Alright, it cements your legacy in Igbo land if you have a traditional title. And it's also a symbol of achievement. And finally, because you're a public figure, it allows you can be invited to give special keynote addresses. Be a guest of honor, be patrons of organizations. Because everyone wants to identify with you, you're a successful man if you're a traditional title holder. So hopefully, like I said earlier, we may have more traditional title men among the Igbos here and among the non-Igbos here. So I'll conclude this speech And in conclusion, I'll say again, the Chieftaincy Title remains relevant in Igbo land today because it provides a balance between tradition and modernity, between the past and the present and the future. It will forever remain a symbol of Igbo culture. And as the Igbo community evolves in modern times, the chieftaincy institutions remains vital in fostering love, in fostering unity, progress. It's a hallmark of achievement, service, and identity in Igbo land. I want to go this story. See, if the Igbos have colonized the world the way the British did, you wouldn't be having slaves and ladies. You probably would be having somebody like those who follow Mr. Alex Ferguson, right? Probably might have been Mr. Alex Ferguson. So Winston Churchill might have been also Winston Churchill. So if you have colonized the world, this would have been the symbol of authority across the world. So thank you very much for listening. I'll leave us with a couple of things to reflect on. Alright, because you know in everything you have the bad and the ugly as well. So while we reflect, can we think about people that might have gotten the chieftaincy title that did not merit it, maybe because they've acquired wealth, probably in not very good ways. We may have some examples, I don't want to mention names, but those examples are there. And then finally, can we also reflect on the parallels between the Igbo chieftaincy titles and Western chieftaincy? I've already made some examples and remarks on that. So while we eat, while we drink, it's the hallmark of being an Igbo man. Like I said, Igbo Amaka, we're proud of our culture, we're proud of where we come from, and this is one way that we recognize those who, we value in our communities. Igbo Kwenu, Kwenu, Igbo Mwano, Igbo Mwakano, Igbo Gadikeshi, and they share that Agwagu. It means that it will be like tomorrow never ends. Thank you very much.